Off and running on this Monday afternoon. Very few Mondays in which the bright lights of Gulfstream Park West are on, but this is one of them on this Columbus Day 2018. Jason Blewett, Ron Nicoletti joining you from our clubhouse studios, and we have spent basically, Ronnie, in Miami Gardens the last half hour dodging some raindrops here.
Yeah, we got a big storm about 20 minutes ago, so the main track is now sealed. It's listed as sloppy, but we're still on the turf. The turf course listed as good. And take it from me, I've been watching these turf races. Boy, that turf course, they did a fantastic job on it over the offseason.
And the riders have praised it as well. And you do get a sense, even yesterday, the grass listed good. There's very few clods that are being kicked up, no dust or anything like that. And hopefully the weather, as we move forward into this 2-month meet over at GP, will actually improve and we can string together some days without any rain. But again, we'll keep you up to speed throughout the afternoon. And of course, Pete Aiello will be joining us in about a half hour, give or take, with those Monday scratches and changes. But let's get you up to speed with what's on tap. It's a 10-race Monday, October the 8th here at GPW. It all begins with the first. That includes, of course, the 50-cent early pick 5 and the opening Super High 5 on the afternoon, which kicks off in race number 2. Ronnie, that is the only carryover up for grabs today.
They got the Rainbow 6 yesterday, and there were 5 tickets alive in the final race, and I think they ran 1, 2, and 4. So whoever had that ticket brought down $48,000, I believe it was. So nice bet. We're going to start anew this afternoon. We'll see if we can get it done. And, of course, we end the day on Columbus Day with our late pick 5. And, Jason, I did some homework because I know you always try and catch me. Columbus Day, Nina, Pinta, Santa Maria. He's going to try and get me later.
I may have to ask you what year he sailed the ocean blue. How about that?
Give me a half hour.
All right. Yeah, give me 30 seconds so I can Google that. But pretty good there with these ships of Christopher Columbus. And what I think of Columbus Day, maybe not the first thing. First thing I think of is that we're racing, and it's not a holiday for us racetrackers, but I think of that Sopranos episode when there was the big protest over Columbus Day, and some of the gang from James Gandolfini's group, shall we say, goes down and busted up some of the riders. What a great show that Sopranos was. But anyway, let's dive into the action here. On a day, Ronnie got the 3 Columbus ships right on the nose. We'll try to get lucky in this early pick 5, taking a page from Mr. Nicoletti. Let's go 2 deep to start the action here. You've got the dude, Bragg Dude, at 0 for 16. Mr. Storm, I view as a positive. He's only run a couple of times, but I am going to use both of them. I love, and again, fingers crossed with the weather throughout the remainder of this card, but I mean, we have 5 scheduled turf races coming up, and race 2 does kick off the action on the GPW green. I am going to go just 1 deep, if you will, in race number 3. That's my single. I like the speed in the post, Ronnie, of Heaven's Pulpit.
Yeah, Heaven's Pulpit. There's a horse I'm admitting freely that I missed. I went back and looked because I saw that you had picked him on top and everybody else did. And I had that horse actually in 4th. I went back. I didn't like the turf race last time out, but his race due back when he ran against Denver makes him the one to beat.
Definitely.
I blew that one. I'll tell you that right now.
Yeah, it happens every now and then, my friend. Long week, 10 race cards. In good company, though, flipping the page up to race 4. I got a little Paco Lopez, Miguel Vasquez, and how about Chucky Lopez riding your second choice in that race, the 6 Dawn Lightning for Eddie Plesa Jr. In looking, and I picked that horse on top, I was thinking how many races have those guys won together, mainly up in New Jersey over the years?
A lot. So that team is back together, and I just tried to get cute with True Eris, who's dropping way down today.
And then experience, to me, trumps all the first-time starters in the 5th race today. Brunette Princess has the potential to be a little bit of a runner for Gustavo Delgado. But again, between Mika's Girl and the 6 Leilani, who Ronnie has on top, and you've got them 1-2, they look, unless someone can really run first out, they ultimately might just be 1st and 2nd.
Yeah, I agree with you in that one there. In the race 3, I'm going to go back and look at that race. As you can tell, I already did.
All right. Yes, you did, my friend. Like that big speed of Heaven's Pulpit, you'll see a replay of her last dirt race. A pretty good effort 2 starts back. But anyway, we digress. We get back into this opening leg, and we do start this Monday afternoon program with a field of 6. going 7 furlongs, a $10,000 3-and-up maiden claimer, and it really is a difference in resumes between the 5 Mr. Storm and the number 2 Bragg Dude, and clearly I opted to go with the less experienced of the two, but respect your top pick.
Yeah, and these were the logical 2 on paper, but Bragg Dude is back in South Florida, faced tougher in that 6-race campaign in California. Juan Andres Rodriguez, Leonel Reyes handling the homecoming, so I think this horse just coming back, was knocking heads in California. He's been here before at Gulfstream Park West, so it's nothing new for him, but I can understand going with the 5-horse Mr. Storm in here, stretching out today to 7/8.
All right, sounds good. Let's move on to the second here as we flip the page and we move on to the first of a handful of turf races on this 10-race Monday afternoon at GPW. We're going a mile and a 16th, a field of 9 after scratches, and we've got a 3-and-up filly and mare, $10,000 maiden claimer. And in regards to my top selections, if you will, very much towards the inside. And I wrote something in the analysis today. I forgot to grab the big program on my way up, but the picks in my analysis, along with Ronnie's, Acacia's, Pedro, and the boys doing the telecast in Espanol, all of our selections and write-ups are available, of course, 24/7 at GulfstreamPark.com. But it was something along the lines of, I know you've heard me say with the number 2 Sunfest, she's a professional maiden, she's burned money, she's had a lot of chances, but believe me, today is the day, this is the spot. I've said that probably 3 or 4 times throughout her career of recent, but believe me, Ronnie, I'm serious. Today is the day for Sunfest.
Well, I have her in 3rd today, and I wrote another trying to score the elusive maiden victory this afternoon. But I did go with the number 5 in here, Gia Leah Joe, who's a daughter of Treasure Beach, stretching out to a mile and a 16th. She shook off some traffic and problems, lacked a little racing room, and finished a fast closing 3rd. That was at 7.5 furlongs. Raul Mena rides for Fernando Abreu, and I just thought off that last performance, exclusively Emma in 2nd. We basically in agreement. I'm just a little further down with Sunfest today. I just she's got to prove it to me.
I understand.
You sound sold on it, so maybe I'll go that way.
All right, quick 10-day turnaround, good connections. Today, the day for Sunfest in the 2nd. Moving on to the 3rd race, basically the co-feature. There's no stakes on the program today, but a couple of pretty nice higher-level Florida-bred optional claimers, and this one is for the fillies and mares, and certainly one of the spotlight races today at Gulfstream West. And again, I really like the post, and Ronnie touched upon the turf race last time out for the 6 Heavens Pulpit. Not that she ran poorly, she's just a much better horse on dirt, and you'll get a sense of that looking at a tough loss. Now this is a crazy finish in the race we'll show you from late August. I guess this was Travers Week. This might have been Thursday, August 26th, where and when Heavens Pulpit, the gray filly by Hansen, played out as the inside speed, spurts off the far turn. She essentially has a lead that looks insurmountable, but watch way out in the middle of the track in the green and white. Here comes Denver, who just picked her off on the wire. But all in all, a good effort, and she was beaten by a good filly.
Yeah, Denver, I mean, was a stakes place during her 2-year-old season from the Arundel Farm, and just a good horse. And like I said, off that performance, I think that she's the one to beat her because she's got that speed, so it looks like she'll go. And I think she's going to be, as you single, I think she's going to be a real low price there. But I'll go with the horse I kept on top, and that's Hello Juliet, a previous winner right here at Gulfstream Park West. Returns at the 3/4 of a mile today after stalking the pace, finished 2nd, facing similar, going 6.5 cross town. If you follow my analysis, you know I like horses that have run well on this track here at Gulfstream Park West in the past. Fergalicious in 2nd. And like I said, I'm adding that 6 to my early pick 5 ticket, so without a doubt.
All right, sounds good. Let's move on to the 4th race here as we venture back to the GPW Green on the turf, sprinting 5 in this 3-and-up filly and mare 2 lifetime claimer, in which my opinion wasn't overwhelming in terms of strength or anything like that, or being really deliberate. There's not a lot that separates, I think, a handful of these fillies that they're going to bet, but Our Lucky Dice looks a little interesting to me with Paco Lopez, and really in the middle of the pack is where I'm at with the 5 Flying Queen, who's got to get by. The hang up with her is that 1 for 23, and right next door is my top selection, the number 6 Dawn Lightning, with Chucky and Eddie Plisa teaming up. I just like the drop in class, right?
Yeah, and this horse, sorry, Jason, this horse 5 for 8 in the money, going 5 furlongs on the turf, going back to the grass first start, rallied to finish third. Those condition claimants across town at Gulfstream. You mentioned Eddie Plesa Jr., C.C. Lopez, Eddie Sharp with these 5 furlong turf races, but I went with the drop in here with the 9. True Eris, who has her claiming tag actually sliced in half after showing speed and fading. That was facing $16,000 and $30,000 condition claimers respectively in her 2 previous races at the distance. It's Edgar Zayas. Steve Cluceris does a good job. Glass Relief was my look here. I got Dawn Lightning, Flying Queen. I would be the same as you.
Yep.
I would be boxing these for sure.
Yeah, there's not a lot of give, per se, in terms of space between maybe half the field in this 4th race. You get a sense it's one of those turf sprints that'll likely come down to trip, and maybe who gets luckiest of all, getting the cleanest get-go from start to finish. As we are not hitting the finish line, we're just getting warmed up, and Ronnie's Rainbow on the other side of this quick timeout.
Whether you're at home or at the track, have a stake in the race when you bet with ExpressBet. Sign up for an ExpressBet online betting account and receive up to a $500 sign-up bonus.
And Gulfstream is pulling away. Gulfstream blows them away with an eye-opening performance. Awesome again has won. Gulfstream kicking clear. Julie the Beauty.
Always reminded of the great Go Zapper here on Gulfstream West today, running that spot for Adena Springs. And with the Breeders' Cup well less than a month out, Tyler Gaffalione has done some good for his pocket and maybe moving forward those Breeders' Cup fortunes. Mind Your Biscuits comes to mind. And how about Tyler getting that $1 million win at Keeneland on Saturday?
Yeah, his first $1 million victory. Congratulations, Tyler. A homegrown son, we'll call him right here. So, yeah, it was fantastic. You in the Shadwell Mile, right?
Yeah, Shadwell Turf Mile, for
yeah.
sure. And it sounds like that horse who was shipping in from Cali is going to be bound for the Breeders' Cup Mile at Churchill Downs. So, yeah, one of Davey, Florida's most famous young sons. He's the local boy done good, and glad things are going well for Tyler out there at Keeneland Racecourse. Now, let's have things go well for Mr. Ron Nicoletti today, my friend, one of New York's most famous sons. What are we doing?
Well, we mentioned it was hit yesterday, so I got a $28.80 ticket. I was trying to make it pay $14.92 because that's when Columbus. I told you I'd get you today. I did all my research. Well, I went too deep in the opening leg. We talked about Leilani and Micah's Girl. I thought those were the logical two. You know, Leilani probably a little bit better maybe than Micah's Girl, if you want to call it that. And then you'll see in the next race, the 6 horse. Found a 3 horse. I had to add it. Biggest Little City back here. You know, I just thought this horse, Larry Bates Barn, back in the Larry Bates Barn, has run well here in South Florida. Just thought I'd get a little bit of a price with that horse coming back into the Larry Bates Barn, so we're going to use that one. And in the last race today, race number 10, I'm going to try and score a little bit with number 6, Sweet Embrace, 5-1 for Kathleen, stretching out on the turf. You know, I just thought maybe at 5-1 it'd be a little bit of a price. $28.80 for me for the Rainbow Six that starts anew this afternoon.
That's right, 48,000 plus. It was KO Max in the nightcap getting the money for trainer Leon. No, crushed the field.
Crushed him. He really did. So, yeah, you know, it was just amazing. He just went, and like I said, and I remember going 3-5. Well, the 8, you know, I was trying to figure out who had a good shot to win it. And I didn't think the 8 did, but he just ran and ran.
Which was a big price, too. I think 12-1, even with a couple of key late scratches there at the starting gate in the Sunday finale. And in the end, that was the icing on the cake for Romero Mirage, who picked up a hat trick with 3 wins here in Miami Gardens. He has really, really stepped up his game, and I think he's a young rider, obviously worth keeping tabs on. That's kind of an understatement there. This 5th race, though, may just, unless the number 2, Brunette Princess, who we both have 3rd, can run a little bit for Gustavo Delgado, or one of the other 3 firsters. There's 4 first-time starters in the race altogether. You would imagine if one of them is good and pretty live, it's going to be Brunette Princess. If she doesn't run, though, it's probably going to be decided between Leilani and Mika's Girl.
Yeah, I mean, Leilani is stretching out to 3/4 of a mile, returned from the layoff with the blinkers added, ran that good second, going 5 furlongs. It's Juan Alvarado, Edgar Zayas on the Arundel Farm, homebred daughter of Brethren. But Mika's Girl might, with a clean trip can be dangerous.
Yeah, she did not have a clean trip in her last start. This was career start number 2 for her back on August 19th over at Gulfstream Park, and she was just jammed up inside. She had steadied briefly entering the far turn and had to kind of fight her way up the rail, taking all that kickback. Is she a factor here in deep stretch for the win? No. Did she have some insanely crazy strong punch off the far turn? No. But this was a good enough effort, and I think a big enough step forward in her second start that she's likely going to give you her best race today. She flattened out a little bit inside, but again, did not have clear sailing for the most part, or maybe an optimum kind of trip that you'd want to pull with a young horse. So she is eligible to run well in this race for Carlo Veccareza, but Leilani, again, Ronnie, might just be a little faster.
Yeah, and I was always thinking of singling that horse. But getting back to Brunette Princess, let's show you a stat on Gustavo Delgado. This is that first-time starter we were talking about. 2-year-old first-time starters for Gustavo on the dirt. He's 7 for 31, 23%. He's 48% in the money, and he's got almost a $4 return on investment. So, as you mentioned, if this horse runs well in its first start, could certainly win, and I almost was thinking of going 3 deep in there.
Halfway point on this Columbus Day program at Gulfstream West is race number 6. Late pick 5 begins with some hard-nosed turf veterans. A lot of these horses are familiar to us, South Florida racing fans and horse players. And as far as the late pick 5 goes, how do you like this? I'm making a single. Single here. The long winless streak. First, we're going to get Sunfest home in race 2, and she'll be a maiden no more with a record of 1 for 18. And in the case of my late pick 5 single, good old Mickey Kroger runs 2 horses now after early scratches. I like Texas Rustler, who has not won, Ronnie, in just about 2 seasons.
Yeah, but wins always wins when wins here.
Yes.
11 races with 4 wins here. Looks like it's the old horse for course angle with Texas Rustler. A good one to single on your ticket.
7th race, very difficult. I think quite simply you're just going to need to use horses there. I used everybody I thought could win, basically a third of the field in that race, including the 7 No Choice, who does get Edgar Zayas off a bad debut, which really piqued my interest. As far as the 8th race goes, I'm looking for a fast pace, and if that happens, your top pick, Ronnie, Bright Venezuelan, might just be the right horse.
Thought it was the right horse, and another one from Steve Cluceris' barn. I hope he has a good day today. It's the daughter of Justin Phillip.
Yeah, one of 4, in fact, coming out of the same race. A real rematch. In addition to that blazing pace, you've also got a key rematch. It's kind of the 2 main bullet points going into the Monday 8th. The 9th race, another 3-horse spread. What I like about that one, and clearly I'm more mid-pack using the 4, 5, and 6, most of those fillies and mares, Ronnie, are predominantly 1-turn mile specialists over at Gulfstream. Throwing the 2 turns here at GPW, it just adds a little bit of a wrinkle and twist to the race.
Yeah, Duvalette the last time out came from the parking lot to win that race.
Yeah. Do you like her coming back?
Yeah, I got a second. I have her in second on the race. Yeah, I have those 3: Flying Girl, Duvalette, and Queen's Quarters.
And I'm using the same 3 Ronnie has in his Rainbow 6, the 2, 4, and 6. But that's another race where, man, I was putting this ticket together and trying to keep it at or just below $30 with the single of Texas Rustler. And I like the 2, 4, and 6 in the nightcap, just like Ronnie has. But at the same time, I don't feel it's just that kind of race where I could come up realistically with maybe 5 or 6 horses that have a chance.
And that was the reason my long shot today, even though it was only 5-1, Kathleen's horse in that race. And that was my thought process, is wide open. And I would not be surprised if, as you said, a half a dozen horses had the chance to cross the wire first. So we'll see how it plays out. Texas Rustler, always one of my favorite horses. I can understand.
I like him too, yeah.
Just it runs where it's the old horse for course play. Giants Voice I had in second on my ticket, who's 3rd behind Texas Rustler. When they competed at this 5-furlong distance back on August 9th, going to turn back. Want to show you a stat on Mr. Steve Cluceris, the trainer of Giants Voice. Route to sprint, claimers on the dirt. He's 4 for 41, only 10%, 39% in the money, 78%, 78-cent return of investment. Their game is sprinting 5 furlongs, at least in my estimation. So I just thought I wanted to put that out there. I mean, Giants Voice makes, to me, I think that makes Texas Rustler look a little better.
What, with the fact that he doesn't win all that often, Giants voice?
Yeah, that was my thought process. And the turning back looks like they're searching for that logical spot.
Definitely. And he's a little inconsistent, Giants voice. There's a few horses in here, like even the 9, I go for greatness. And in my analysis, I lump both Giants voice is a little more consistent than I go for greatness, but these horses are a tad bit erratic. And in the end, you kind of know what you're getting with Texas Rustler. I think Mickey Kroger's done a really good job just campaigning this older, what is he? He's a 9-year-old, I put it back. I mean, he'll be 10 in a couple of months. She's done a good job with this horse, basically laying him up over the winter time during the championship meet and taking her shots and trying to fire those A bullets, those A efforts now when the competition is a little easier. And by the way, Mickey also drew into the race with Pioneer Pete, who I'm happy to see you've actually got in the mix.
Yeah, and I want to tell you about that 3. As I mentioned when I was showing you my Rainbow 6 ticket, Biggest Little City. He's back in the Larry Bates barn after a solid recent sprint campaign. That was on the Ellis Park turf. But listen to this. The last time she was in Miami Gardens, she hit the board in 2 of 6 sprints, including a 3rd-place finish behind that uncoupled Mickey Kroger entry of Texas Rustler and Pioneer Pete. So I saw all of that. I said, I got to add this horse to my ticket just for that reason. So, and Larry Bates just had a great end of the summer. So that was my thought process with the 3. Biggest Little City.
Yeah, glad Larry Bates is doing okay. And boy, did he finish up quietly, but still finished up gangbusters here. Not a guy that runs many short-priced horses. 7th race on the afternoon, back on the main, 5.5 furlongs. Some guesswork here with these 2-year-old filly, or 2-year-old, excuse me, 12-5 maiden claimers. These are Colts and Geldings, as we have a field of 8. And the 7 No Choice ran close to 50 days ago, was beaten nearly 40 lengths for Kathleen O'Connell first time out. I don't see Edgar Zayas, Kathleen saying, hey, Edgar, I need you to ride this horse, want you to ride this horse, if she didn't feel as though this horse was really well meant today, dipping in for 12.5.
And I agree with you. And I'll show you a stat on Kathleen O'Connell with horses taking a 50% plus drop in claiming price, 2-year-olds on the dirt. She's 11 for 42, 26%, 57% in the money, and almost that $2 return of investment. So that makes me feel that Edgar is riding this horse. They expect this horse to run well at this 12.5 level.
2 firsters in the race for Antonio Sano, who are based here at GPW. The inside horse, Rosas for Jimmy, has had a lot of chances, but has some speed and has run okay here and there. It is not an easy race here. This is one of those survival races, don't you think, in the multis?
All button.
Yeah. This might be the race you bang out the all button and just hope for a bomber there because, man, we have more shorter-priced horses in our super, but it is tough to trust anybody. 8th race, meanwhile, does have a little more form to sink your teeth into, and that's always appreciated, especially when you're going up in class with these Florida-bred filly mare optional claimers. And again, my 2 main bullets going in, first of which is a likely fast pace that I'm banking on. And it's a fast pace that might ultimately at least tax some of the bigger players on paper, like Richie's Sister and the number 4 Speed Star. And then you've got that rematch, a quartet coming out of the same race September 15th. Richie's Sister, and we'll show you the race, ran really well. She's on the lead. She puts away all her pressure, and you'll watch her, and she actually, off the far turn, switches leads and spurts away, and that's pretty much the race. I also thought Bright Venezuelan got a good ride between foes, covered up. She'll put in a late run. Here she comes with that red saddle towel. She'll fall just a neck short with a fast finish. I respect both these fillies coming back, but like you, Ronnie, did you think Bright Venezuelan would potentially trip out here behind a fast pace?
And that was my thought process. And Richie's Sister, 22-1 that afternoon, so she got that job done. It was very impressive. I did go with Bright Venezuelan, debuting locally, ended that turf campaign with that second you just saw, was actually sent off as the tepid favorite that afternoon. It's Steve Cluceras, Paco Lopez, daughter of Justin Phillip. I just think this one sits the trip. That was my thought process. Speed Star in second, Safi Joseph Jr., and Richie's Sister, after that performance, had to put this one on ticket, and I'm looking, we got the same try.
Yeah, same try in a race that's not that easy. Don't be fooled by us liking the 5-4-3 in that order, because Bright Venezuelan, yes, might take advantage of a fast pace, but she's going to have to show up again shipping over to Gulfstream West. Speed Star's back on the turf, and who knows where that race came from the 3 Richie's Sister. That was a real high watermark for her. Maybe she just turned the corner after losing for cheaper claiming prices earlier in the summertime for Trader Dave Brad. ratty.
And the way she changed lead, you made a great point there. It just looked like she was feeling very well and just took off. So there might be another one like that, and that was one of the reasons I did not leave her off my Rainbow Six ticket.
Yeah, originally I looked at her with a lot of skepticism, but watching that race, she was just so dominant, even though the margin was only a neck. She really ran well. Back to the dirt. In fact, our final race over the Gulfstream Park West main track coming up in Monday's 9th. We'll go the two-turn mile with the 6250 Filly Mare Claimers. And as I was saying with the tagline in the late pick 5, the neat little wrinkle or added sort of ingredient to this race going in, a variable is probably a better way to put it, is the switch with many of these older fillies and mares from one turn, exclusively one turn over in Hallandale to two turns here. That will include the Volta, who came from way back, and we'll bring you that race back on September 13th. She was in another county early on, basically, I think, at the beach, and then decided to jump in, as Trevor Demon would say, at the quarter pole, and she'll loop up and circle the field and really ran well. Where do you stand with her, Ronnie, coming back for Peter Walder?
Well, I have her in second this afternoon. She's going to face open competition today. The really impressive come-from-behind victory, Peter Walder. Hector Berrios, boy, this guy's been winning races in bunches right now. He's going for 2 in a row, and here you see this performance. And you don't see this a lot at Gulfstream Park across town. Horses making this big late move and getting up under the shadow of the wire. So Duvaletta had to use it back on my ticket, but I, like you, went with Flying Girl on top of my ticket, who's changing barns, going to the Javier Castellano barn. Tries a two-turn mile today, as we've been mentioning. Made that bid, finished second. That was that one-turn mile across town. Lionel Reyes, excellent rider. He stays in the saddle. Duvaletta, and we both have. Oh, look, we got to try again.
Another ice-cold try. But again, mid-pack, very much where it's at, realistically speaking, because the 5 Queens Quarters fills out our respective tries for Ronnie and myself. It looks like she peaked earlier in the summer, and now she's kind of, her form's tailing off ever so slowly. But that said, she runs one of her better races for Juan Arriagada. She's got every right to be right there when it matters, right?
Yeah, and I think she's going to run well in that spot. So we'll see how that race plays out. And like I said, this sequence today, whether it's the late pick 5 or the Rainbow Six, not as easy as you might think today. So we're going to see how things play out.
Yeah, this late pick 5, I know personally putting that ticket together, it was pretty difficult, and trying to keep that ticket at a budget $30, give or take, was not easy. And look, we don't miss a beat in race number 10 as we finish off what is a 6-day opening week this fall here at Gulfstream West, a field of 9, and we end things on the turf at 7.5 furlongs. These are 3 and up Filly and Mare 20K maiden claimers. The number 2, Bienville Street. I think I'm going to make the argument and assumption she is just a better horse going longer. 5 on the grass, not really her game. She's stretching out to 7.5 furlongs. Airtime will try to go this distance, and your long shot, Ronnie, is in the middle of the pack.
Yeah, Sweet Embrace is bred to respond favorably to both the surface and the distance. This daughter of Sensational stretches out around 2 turns. Duel throughout, finished second. That was her 20 debut, going 6.5 furlongs on the main track. So bred for the grass. Like I said, Kathleen, this is a wide open race. I wanted to get a little bit of a shot. 5-1 on the morning line. Airtime, I want to show you a cautionary stat, and this is sort of a chuckle stat because Armando de la Cerda, one of the greatest trainers we have around here. But doing this, sprint the route, claimers on the turf, he's only 2 for 18, 11%, 44% in the money. But he does have a positive return of investment. But Armando, if he jumps up and wins this race, I would not be shocked at all.
No, Miguel Vasquez rides a horse, a filly, in fact, by the late Wildcat Air, who is likely, assuming she breaks, to play part in the pace along with the 2, Bienville Street, and maybe the 1, the great calf from down inside, as Romero Mirage has got a busy afternoon riding most of the card here as he looks to build off a 3-win Sunday afternoon. And we move forward as well as a group. In fact, up next is Pete Aiello here at Gulfstream West with those Columbus Day scratches and changes.
Tis Robert Charles broke his maiden at Gulfstream Park on